Hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Guys here for another update on the things that are of course unfolding over in the Middle East. But as you can see, a big development as the UK military are now directly involved, as we have been given an update with regard to the RAF shooting down an Iranian drone. Now, over the last 24 hours, the message coming out of Britain has been fairly non-deciding on which side they're necessarily on. It's been very, very platonic in the middle. And we're seeing a lot domestically on where Britain does stand. Lots of different leaders from different parties, of course, trying to chime in. However, Starmer has affirmed and stayed very, very central, despite Canada and Australia coming out and supporting those US and Israeli strikes on Iran. Now, we did get a bit of an update this morning from the Defense Secretary, Mr. Healy, and he said that, of course, defensive missions are currently ongoing in the Middle East, and we do have British jets in the air flying over the Gulf state. But now we do have our first direct sort of hit, if you like, and that's come out as the MOD have provided a statement for you. So we're going to be discussing that in today's video. We're also going to be going over what has happened and broken out in Iraq, as another US military base has been hit by Iranian suicide drones, with a lot of, essentially a weapon depot is now on fire with inside the camp, and we're seeing a lot of sort of secondary explosions and munitions all cooking off in this video footage. So we'll be going through that. We've also got an update on France. We've also got an update on America as well, as Trump has came out and issued a bit of a statement too. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff all ongoing with regard to the Middle East. But over in America as well, there has been a mass shooting that has seen 3 people killed and 14 wounded, which is a potential Tehran-inspired shooting attack in Austin, Texas. So quite a lot to discuss in today's live stream. But let's start at home, or overseas, but with regard to home, and that is of the UK, guys. But first, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. So as you can see here, we have got an update from the Ministry of Defense just over the last hour. And they have said that today, the Royal Air Force Typhoon, operating from Qatar as a part of the joint UK-Qatar Typhoon Squadron, successfully took out an Iranian drone heading towards Qatar. On the 1st of March 2026, a Royal Air Force Typhoon operating from Qatar as a part of the thing took out an Iranian drone heading towards Qatari territory. The Typhoon jet was conducting a defensive air patrol and used an air-to-air missile to shoot down the drone, ensuring the security of Qatar's airspace and British interests in the region. Our armed forces are playing a vital role to protect our people, our interests, and our allies. So there you go. Britain are directly involved now with military intervention after shooting down an Iranian drone over that sort of Qatari airspace. So yeah, a fairly big development from what we have heard over the last 24 hours, where we were doing nothing, but now obviously doing defensive missions, and we are shooting down those, well, at least have shot down at least one Iranian drone. Now, we have seen British troops come under attack, so to speak, and indirectly, as some have been based out in Bahrain with the United States. These missiles did hit yards away, according to John Healy as well, the Defense Secretary. And of course, there was those missiles fired towards Cyprus, not directly aimed at Cyprus, but towards Cyprus, of which we do have military bases in the region. And of course, a lot of Britain's affected currently overseas in the Gulf, especially in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Now, we've got some more updates on what is unfolding, as well as France. We've seen France's stance the other day, but they've also had an attack on one of their naval bases in Abu Dhabi. And over the last, hour or so again, the French aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, and its carrier strike group leave the Baltic Sea and set sail for Eastern Mediterranean to counter Iranian threats against the region. Now, we've seen, of course, the European standpoint on things, and that was that France, I think Macron came out and said that he didn't like what he had seen. The UK Germany and France came out with a joint statement last night, going against the Iranian regime, not necessarily praising what was going on between America and Israel. But France had more of a standpoint of, flying the old white flag like they always do. Didn't want to get involved. However, we have seen some movement from their side after their naval base got attacked in Abu Dhabi, and that the French aircraft carrier is now set sail and is setting for to counter Iranian threats against the region. So big development there from France as well. In another update from Donald Trump, this is coming from him from his Truth Social post. He said, "I have just been informed that we have destroyed and sunk 9 Iranian naval ships, some of them relatively large and important. We are going after the rest. They will soon be floating at the bottom of the sea also. In a different attack, we largely destroyed their naval headquarters. Other than that, their navy is doing very well." President Donald J. Trump. So Trump giving us a bit of an update, a running commentary on proceedings, on what's happening in the Middle East, especially with what's happening with the Navy out there. And he's obviously confirmed that 9 Iranian naval ships were sunk. Now, I did see an interesting development come our way over the last hour or so as well, 2 hours or so. And that was from a magazine called The Atlantic. And essentially, the US President Donald Trump said on Sunday that Iran's new leadership wants to talk to him and that he has agreed. So he said, they want to talk and I have agreed to talk, so I'll be talking to them. They should have done it sooner. They should have given what was very practical and easy to do sooner. They waited too long. That's what he said to The Atlantic on Sunday. Asked whether the conversation would happen today or tomorrow, Trump said, I can't tell you that. He added that some of the Iranians involved in negotiation in recent weeks were no longer alive. Most of these people are gone. Some of the people we were dealing with are gone because that was big. That was a big hit. They should have done it sooner, Michael. They could have made a deal. They should have done it sooner. They played too cute. So take of that what you will, but Trump has said that the Iran's new leadership wants to talk to him and that he has agreed. So when that's going to happen, we don't know, but these Iranian attacks are still happening as we speak. And as I mentioned there in the intro, the latest attack that I want to go over is with regard to what is happening in Iraq. Now, a US military base in Iraq has been targeted, and we're seeing mass amounts of secondary explosions that are happening at this Iraqi base. So Iranian suicide drones have struck the US military base in Erbil. A weapons depot is on fire with lots of secondary explosions all cooking off. So here's a bit of video footage from Iraq and this US military base. Yeah, so quite clearly you can see that it was a weapons depot, and due to the explosion, those secondary explosions are just firing off everywhere. There's no necessarily more update on in terms of anyone has been affected, anyone has been killed or whatever, but that is an update from Iraq. In terms of other stuff, in terms of more sort of attacks from Iran, that's the latest one, is in the Iraq base in northern Iraq. We're still seeing Iranian missiles in the sky over Bahrain, though, with air defense systems actively engaging them. So no direct hits, I suppose, from Bahrain, but their air defense systems working very, very well to intercept those Iranian missiles. So the Iranian missiles are still coming and, really are going at this moment in time. We've also got an update as well from Israel. We spoke about Israel in terms of the attacks that they had, but also the attacks from Tehran earlier on today. But they've called up 100,000 reserve soldiers. So make of that what you will. 100,000 reserve soldiers have been called up from the Israeli forces. So I suppose they're preparing for something fairly big by the looks of things, if I have to take it from there. But that's kind of it. As I said, there's various different things kind of being hit over, but yeah, updates as we go on. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. I've just seen a video of Macron actually as well. French President Macron in Iran, in the United Arab Emirates, and a hangar at our base adjacent to the Emirati base was hit in a drone attack that targeted the port of Abu Dhabi. The damage is purely material and limited. There are no injuries to report. But despite that, guys, France are still on their way, as we mentioned at the start of this stream, that they have seen their French aircraft carrier and its carrier strike group leave the Baltic Sea and set sail for the Eastern Mediterranean to counter the Iranian threats against them. So they are very much on their way as well. For those of you just tuning in as well, the RAF have confirmed that they have shot down an Iranian drone. So obviously, militarily, we are involved at this time. In America, wow, America, we're also seeing, and I thought this was going to happen. Now, the FBI are reporting on a suspected or potential terror attack that's happened in Austin, Texas. Some of the video footage that's circulating from Austin, Texas is horrific. But we're seeing the perpetrator of this attack, essentially a Senegalese immigrant in the US. And essentially, I'll get you a picture of him now. He went into a bar, or at least was outside a bar in Austin, and had a Quran on him, allegedly, and fired away. Apparently, 3 people are dead, 15 people are currently injured at this moment in time. I can't share the footage on it because it's quite frankly too graphic to show. However, I have got a picture of the suspect, 53-year-old Islamist, and he is wearing this hoodie. So it's all breaking out. And this was the fears that were coming out, by the way. So as you can see on his jumper, property of Allah. That's what it says, property of Allah. But this is the suspected mass shooter in Austin, Texas. So yeah, I can only imagine what his motive was. But we're still waiting to find out. As I said, the alleged shooter had a Quran in his vehicle and was allegedly wearing a shirt that read, property of Allah. Sources said he was possibly also wearing an undershirt featuring the Iranian flag or other Iranian symbols. This is what American reports are saying. Obviously, it's still early in the process to determine the exact motivation, but there were indicators on the subject and his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism. So a potential terror attack, of course, unfolding in the United States. And these were the initial fears of what was going to happen, what was going to break out following these attacks in Iran and the Iranian attacks. People are always going to the sleeper cells that people are talking about. People are they're obviously wanting to get their own back. So yeah, we'll have to find out a little bit more information. But some of that footage from Austin, Texas, is absolutely horrific. And that's actually a second mass shooting here today as well, by the way. Apparently, there was also another one in Cincinnati as well. I don't think that was related, but yeah. Just as we are live, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, funnily enough. And Iran have launched another round of ballistic missiles towards Israel. So Israel now the next intended target for Iran. Let's just get that up. I'm going to jump into the live chat in a second, guys. Don't you worry about it. But let's have a little look at this quickly because we have got a bit of breaking news whilst we are live, and that is with regard to some more attacks to Israel from Iran. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of a map here to depict it. But Iran launches another round of ballistic missiles towards Israel. That's just broken over the last 5 minutes. So some pretty much breaking news here. Israel is the next target for Iran as these strikes do continue and probably will continue through the night and into Monday. I'll keep that up there. Also being reported that Hamani's son was eliminated. We kind of knew that yesterday, but regardless, we're still there. And yeah, we've got senators coming out now as well talking about the Austin attack and saying that it is a terrorist. Houses. Let's get into live chat. See what people are saying with regard to all of the subject matter we've spoken about in today's live stream. Quite action-packed, these live streams. But as you can imagine, quite a lot of stuff happening by the minute. So yeah, I think we're doing a not bad job at getting all of the information out there for you. D Invincible says sleeper cell in Texas. I just woke up. Where was the RAF jet? In the Gulf, above in Qatari airspace. So it was in Qatar. They confirmed that they did shoot down an Iranian drone. Walt for me says, good job. Iran never went nuclear. We can see what would have happened. Exactly. And that's the reason why that country could never have nuclear weapons. But I do find it interesting that China and Russia have kind of left their allies, their Islamist allies, out to dry. Never didn't even get involved with them. It's baffling how people are for this war without looking at the consequences. Starmer can't even protect our own borders. True. But what I would say from Starmer's defense, for those of you that, of course, don't want to see British personnel being deployed, it's defensive operations. So it's not offensive operations. So what you're seeing with the United States and Israel, they're carrying out offensive operations. So they're bombing key targets in Tehran and various places in Iran, right? However, what UK are doing is more defensive operations. So if they've got jets in the sky, they're simply defending. So i.e. seeing drones, they will shoot them down and stop them from landing in Gulf states, allies, this case, Qatar. So it's actually a completely different perspective. It's defensive. So actually, it's still military intervention, but not to a point of being offensive and bombing countries, right? Willie says, I thought Britain was half Islamic in Sharia law. I think we've got probably another 5 years. I think if we lose the next general election, we could head that way. The RAF have moved some Typhoons back to UK from US today, maybe to go to the Middle East. Not sure. Not heard any update on that as of yet. Nothing. No update just there. Still no word. You look stoned. It's cute. I can assure you I'm not. I'm absolutely zapped. Tired. Not really slept so much recently. Been covering a load of different things. So, yeah. And I'm actually scunnered with today's result, by the way, in the football. But there's more important things, I suppose, to worry about in world affairs than a football game. But regardless, still gutted. What a shocker. The refugee turned out not to be such a good idea to have in the first place. Well, at least America are trying to get rid of some of these people, right? They're doing mass deportations, trying to get rid of these individuals. But these things are happening. These attacks are happening in America. And I've seen Tommy Robinson's response. In fact, I was probably going to do a bit of a video update, potentially on the attack in America. Yeah, lots of reaction on that. But yeah, it does certainly look like an individual that hates the country. And this is the guy, these are the people that Trump is trying to get rid of out of the country. And it's the left, the Democrats, that are standing in the way of enforcement to get rid of some of these individuals. You'd be surprised who the Democrats are actually trying to protect in the United States. They're going as far to protect actual convicted criminals. And we're not even just talking about the illegals. We're talking about people that have been, found guilty of heinous acts, and they're even standing in the way to protect them. So when you've got places and cities and states in the country that are not cooperative to try and get rid of individuals like this, then it's insane to me. But Texas is actually a red state, so hopefully they could start getting rid of some of these people. Was it someone dressed as a woman? No. Guys, I am going to give you, for the people that are just tuning in, this is the attacker, or alleged attacker, we have to say, in Texas. There you go. That's the image of the guy from Texas. I mean, look at his jersey. It hasn't been deemed as a terrorist attack as of yet. FBI are investigating it. But yes, as people would say, usual suspect in terms of you make a great point. Hold up 2 seconds. Muffle Moose says, stop believing the hate and ignorance you've been taught your whole life. That's what they want. Go out, meet different people, races, culture, etc. You'll learn the truth yourself. I know. I'm not I have many friends from different cultures, different races, different countries. I've lived in many countries, and I still travel a lot to this day. I'm very much aware of things, yes, and I don't hate whatsoever. But what I do not like is illegals coming from different cultures and coming into our country illegally. That's what I dislike. And of course, I hate criminals as well. But yeah, regardless of that, of course, I understand there's many great cultures out there in the world. And maybe in the UK, we just want to see some different kind of cultures coming in. We always get the, I quote Donald Trump, the shithole countries. Why can't we get some people from Sweden or Denmark or Bali? Yeah, no one was dressed as a woman. I grew up in Luton. Cheers for the advice. Shout out Luton. My grandparents used to live there. So yeah. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We've probably got another video coming your way in a moment, so I'm going to cut this live stream short. But we're pretty much up to date with the developments that are happening with strikes, US, UK, France, and everything else that's happening in the Middle East. Of course, it's a fast-moving story, so we'll keep you up to date as and when things happen or major developments happen. But I've got an interesting video for you coming up next. And could Tommy Robinson be about to not back Restore Britain? Yes, we've seen him Lord Rupert Lowe recently, but questions are being asked of Tommy Robinson. We'll get that video for you over the next 25 minutes or so, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you.